The red Bugatti sat under the bright morning lights like a wounded king. Around it stood some of the most brilliant minds in the country, engineers from billion-dollar tech companies, software specialists, automotive experts, and innovation consultants. They had spent nearly 2 days trying to solve a mysterious problem that had crippled the CEO's prized supercar. Laptops glowed. Diagnostic reports piled up. Frustration filled the air. Yet no one could make the car move. And then a tired single father in a faded work shirt walked into the garage. 5 minutes later, the impossible problem was gone. Before we begin, if you believe kindness, hard work, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs inspiration, and subscribe to Beyond Single Dad. Your support helps bring more powerful stories like this to life. The owner of the Bugatti was Victor Hale, the billionaire CEO of one of the fastest-growing technology companies in America. Victor was known for solving impossible business problems, but this situation was different. His limited edition Bugatti had suddenly stopped functioning during an important charity event at a luxury hotel in Detroit. The car's onboard systems appeared normal. The engine showed no major faults. Every scan reported conflicting results. One moment everything looked perfect, the next, the vehicle completely refused to start. Victor hated failure. As hours turned into days, he brought in expert after expert. Engineers from major tech corporations arrived carrying expensive equipment. Automotive consultants flew in from different states. Everyone promised answers. No one delivered. The atmosphere inside the hotel garage grew heavier with every passing hour. The experts argued over software glitches, sensor failures, encryption problems, and complex system errors. Thousands of dollars were being spent every hour, yet the Bugatti remained silent. Meanwhile, several miles away, a man named Rowan Mercer was finishing his overnight shift at a small repair shop. Life had not been kind to Rowan. 3 years earlier, he had lost his wife, Clara, after a sudden illness. Since then, every day had become a battle. He worked long hours while raising his 10-year-old daughter, Ivy, on his own. Bills arrived faster than paychecks. Sleep became a luxury. Yet despite everything, Rowan never complained. His daughter was his entire world. That morning, Rowan was preparing to leave work when the shop owner received an unusual call. Someone at the hotel desperately needed another mechanic to inspect a luxury vehicle. Most professionals had already failed. The owner laughed at the request. But Rowan quietly volunteered. Not because he expected success. Because he needed the extra money. An hour later, Rowan arrived at the hotel garage carrying a worn metal toolbox that looked completely out of place among the sophisticated diagnostic machines. The experts barely acknowledged him. Some exchanged amused glances. Others assumed he was there to clean equipment. Victor himself looked exhausted. His expensive suit was wrinkled from stress, and dark circles surrounded his eyes. Rowan slowly walked around the Bugatti. He listened. He observed. He touched nothing. The room watched in silence. Unlike everyone else, Rowan wasn't focused on the computers. He was focused on the car. Years of working on broken engines had taught him something valuable. Machines often reveal their secrets to people willing to pay attention. As he crouched near the driver's side wheel, he noticed something strange. A tiny connector hidden behind a panel had shifted slightly out of position. It was almost invisible. So small that most technicians would never consider it important. But Rowan knew better. He carefully opened the panel. He pressed the connector firmly back into place. Then he asked someone to start the vehicle. The engine roared to life instantly. The garage froze. For several seconds nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The impossible problem that had defeated world-class experts for nearly 2 days had been solved in less than 5 minutes. The room erupted with disbelief. Victor stared at Rowan as if he had witnessed magic. But Rowan simply smiled. To him, it wasn't magic. It was experience. Years spent fixing old vehicles for struggling families. Years spent solving problems without expensive technology. Years spent learning how to listen when machines whispered instead of shouted. Victor invited Rowan into his office later that day. As they talked, Victor learned about Rowan's life. He learned about Clara. He learned about Ivy. He learned about the endless sacrifices required to be both mother and father to a child. For the first time in a long while, Victor found himself thinking about something bigger than business. He realized that while he had built companies worth billions, people like Rowan were quietly holding communities together every day. People who rarely received recognition. People who never appeared on magazine covers. People whose strength was invisible. A week later, Rowan received a phone call that changed everything. Victor offered him a position leading a new technical training program at his company. The salary was more than Rowan had ever imagined earning. At first, Rowan thought it was a joke. It wasn't. Victor believed that practical wisdom deserved the same respect as academic expertise. Months later, Rowan's life looked very different. The constant financial pressure disappeared. Ivy moved into a safer neighborhood. For the first time in years, father and daughter could plan for the future instead of merely surviving the present. But the most emotional moment came one evening when Ivy returned from school holding a drawing. It showed a red Bugatti. Beside it stood her father. Above the picture she had written a simple sentence. "My hero fixes things." Rowan stared at those words for a long time. Not because of the car. Not because of the job. Not because of the money. But because after years of feeling invisible, he finally realized something important. Success isn't measured by fame. It's measured by the lives you touch. And in his daughter's eyes, he had already been successful all along. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, share it with friends and family, and subscribe to Beyond Single Dad for more uplifting stories that remind us of the power of hope and perseverance. Special request, comment below with the words, "Real heroes still exist," if you believe ordinary people can do extraordinary things. As the sun set over Detroit that evening, Rowan and Ivy sat together watching the golden light fill the sky. The world still had challenges. Life would never be perfect. But for the first time in years, the future felt bright. And all because one exhausted single father noticed what everyone else had overlooked. Sometimes the greatest solutions don't come from the smartest technology. Sometimes they come from the kindest heart, the hardest working hands, and the people the world forgets to notice.